This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from October 3rd to October 5th of 2025. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now listen, for the first time, I was able to watch Agyemang play for Derby County from start to finish. By finish, I mean when he was subbed out. And let me tell you, he scored. He scored a very nice goal. Later in the video, I'll talk about whether or not he played well, because scoring a goal on its own doesn't mean the guy played well or poorly. We'll talk about that later in the video. But Agyemang, to me, he's like Morpheus from The Matrix. He is the Morpheus of the EFL Championship. He's going to red pill us into understanding and seeing what is the actual level of the second division of England. And just like Morpheus said, or Agyemang in this case, you can't be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it. And I'm seeing it. All right, now before we start, don't forget to drop a like in this video. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes. And don't forget, the US Men's National Team plays this Friday against Ecuador. On Wednesday, we'll release the match preview for USA versus Ecuador. And then on Friday, obviously, as always, we have the live watch along, which we very much love. Okay, let's play the intro and start the episode. As always, we start with the Italian League, the Serie A. The first players that we're going to talk about will be Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie, because Milan and Juventus played on Sunday. And on Sunday, Christian Pulisic started and played 74 minutes for Milan during their 0-0 draw with Juventus. As for Weston McKennie, he started for Juventus, but he actually played the full 90 minutes. So, how did the Americans do? And I actually thought Pulisic was fine throughout the game. He created a few chances, even set up Rafael Leão for a great goal-scoring opportunity, but Leão missed the target from very close range. Pulisic was moving well, helping on defense, creating, and very ball-secure, press-resistant would probably be the right term. But ultimately, everyone will just remember the crucial penalty kick that Pulisic missed. He shot it over the crossbar, and if he had converted it, Milan probably would have won this game. The good thing is Pulisic has a ton of credit. It happens. You can only miss the penalty kicks if you're the penalty kick taker. And after the game, Allegri confirmed that Pulisic still is the penalty kick taker despite missing it. So it was a tough weekend for Christian Pulisic because he's been outstanding the entire season, but things like this happen. The thing that we don't want to see is this affecting his form and confidence. And that goes for USMNT fans and Milan fans. Because if Milan wants to win the Scudetto, they need a confident, informed Christian Pulisic. They're not going to win the Serie A, which they could, it's possible, if Pulisic's not lighting up most of the opponents. So it happens. He's not going to be incredible in every single game. It's just unfortunate because he could have very well ended this game by scoring that penalty kick and maybe getting the assist with Rafael Leão. All of a sudden, Milan wins 2-0 and Christian Pulisic's the hero. So it's a game of fine margins, details, and sometimes things don't go your way. And for this weekend specifically, things didn't go Christian Pulisic's way. Now, Weston McKennie, I thought he had an overall positive performance while playing as a central midfielder as an 8. He was quite dangerous in the box. He was involved in a few half chances throughout the game, mostly in the first half. He just wasn't overly involved in possession. He didn't get many touches, but he was dangerous while crashing the box. On defense, I don't really remember McKennie making any mistakes, so I thought McKennie was fine for the most part. Now, Ben Cremaschi is not with Parma right now because he's with the US Men's National Team U20s in the U20 World Cup, which, by the way, they play Italy on Thursday for the round of 16, and we're going to do a live watch along for that as well. USA versus Italy, round of 16 of the U20 World Cup, and Ben Cremaschi should be starting in the midfield. The last player we have in Italy is Yunus Musa from Atalanta. And on Saturday, Musa started off the bench and was subbed in for Ederson in the midfield around the 75th minute for Atalanta during their 1-1 draw with Como. All right, time to leave Italy and go to the island. Go to England to talk about the Americans in the English Premier League. The first one being Chris Richards from Crystal Palace. And on Sunday, Richards started and played the full 90 minutes for Crystal Palace during their 2-1 loss to Everton. This was their first loss in the English Premier League season. And this was also the first time that I missed a game, or maybe the second time that I missed a game from Crystal Palace this season, because I've been trying to watch most of Chris Richards' games this year. And I don't like to brag, but I guess the reason they were winning was because I was watching. The one time I don't watch, they finally lose. And they lost to Everton, right? This is not even the best team they played all season long. They've had much tougher games. They played Chelsea, they played Liverpool. Twice, actually, they played Liverpool. Next up, we have Anthony Robinson and Tyler Adams, because Bournemouth and Fulham clashed over the weekend. And on Friday, Tyler started and played 78 minutes for Bournemouth during their 3-1 win over Fulham. Now, Anthony Robinson actually stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Fulham, which is weird because it seems like he isn't fully fit or fully ready for Premier League games, but Pochettino called him up. So maybe, because he did start and play the full game during the midweek in the cup match, just maybe, he got benched at Fulham. He came back from injury, wasn't the same. What's the name of the left back? Ryan Sessegnon has been playing well. So maybe A-Rob has become a backup at Fulham. Who knows? Let's not overreact. Let's wait for November, at least like 2 months, because he just got back from a knee surgery. But it's possible. As for Tyler Adams, let's just say that he did not have his best game for Bournemouth, at least in my opinion. He was very much involved in offense, much more than usual, and that kind of tends to expose his weaknesses. He did have a good moment where he stole the ball in the final third when he was pressing and he hit a nice shot on target from distance. Outside of that, I thought he was mostly poor in possession. Defensively, from what I can remember, he was fine, as always. It's very rare to see Tyler Adams have a bad defensive performance. I think also his wife just had another kid or is about to, so maybe Tyler's not sleeping as much, and that obviously can affect him or will affect his performance as a professional athlete. That's not an excuse, it's just some much needed context. Next up, or last but not least in England, we have Brenden Aaronson from Leeds. And on Saturday, Brenden started once again for Leeds and played 67 minutes for them during their 2-1 loss to Tottenham. With Brenden, it's mostly the same thing. He gets fouled, he falls around and flops around the floor like a Magikarp, and mostly he is ineffective in the final third, but not really bad at the same time. Like, he's not out of his depth. However, the goal scored by Leeds was off a rebound from a shot that Brenden Aaronson hit on target. So despite not getting a goal contribution, he can in fact say that he was involved in the goal they scored directly. Now, before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, SoRare. The link is in the description. We will be back in 60 seconds. In the meantime, go to the bathroom if you want to, drop a like in the video or a random comment to rig the YouTube algorithm. We'll be back very soon. If you like fantasy sports, I got the perfect one for you. Tactical Manager TV is partnering up once again with SoRare with a special offer. Just use the link in the description of this video. In SoRare, you can collect your own virtual cards of your favorite players. But why would you want to collect virtual cards? Because you can line them up on 5-a-side games every single week, and if the players perform in real life, you can win real money, unique experiences, signed jerseys, game tickets, or even more cards to improve your club. And SoRare doesn't only have soccer, they also have the NBA, and they have also Major League Baseball. Unlike other fantasy games where it's pay per play, in SoRare you pay to get the players you want permanently as cards, and then you can play multiple times using those cards until the player retires. And if you are new to SoRare, you can sign up with the link in the description of this video with a special offer. You will get a 50% bonus in your first few purchases up to $300 spent, which means if you use the link in the description and you never bought cards before, you will get 50% as credit up to $300 spent. So if you spend $300, you get $150 in credit. Essentially a $150 welcome bonus. Thank you very much, SoRare, for partnering up with Tactical Manager TV and sponsoring the channel. Okay, we're back. Welcome back. We're going out to Germany to talk about the Americans in the Bundesliga. The first one being Malik Tillman from Bayer Leverkusen. And on Saturday, Tillman started and played the full 90 minutes for Leverkusen during their 2-0 win over Union Berlin. So no goal contributions here for Tillman, but I thought he was mostly good. He could have easily ended this game with an assist. He did set up his teammate very well in transition, but the teammate hit the post, so that could have been an assist. He also had a nice shot on target late in the game that was saved by the goalkeeper. Maybe he could have done better with the placement of his finishing. It was a strong shot, but it was right at the goalkeeper. Regardless, he could have ended the game with a goal or assist, but we're just nitpicking here. The goal contributions matter, but it's not what is a make it or break it in terms of evaluating whether or not a player played well or not. And Tillman did in fact play well and help Leverkusen get the win. Next up would have been Cole Campbell from Borussia Dortmund, but he's with the US men's national team U20s, which, by the way, Cole Campbell has actually been quite a disappointment in this U20 World Cup. If you're following along with our live streams, you would have known by now he hasn't been playing well, but hey, we play Italy on Thursday. Hopefully he bounces back. So let's skip Cole Campbell because he's not with Dortmund right now and talk about Joe Scally and Gio Reyna from Borussia Mönchengladbach. So Joe Scally actually started as a wingback and played the full 90 minutes for Gladbach, and they tied Freiburg 0-0. While Gio Reyna was not available due to injury. Now, it's rumored that he will be back right after the international break, but you just never know with Gio. The last few years have been rough to follow him. I'm kind of getting tired. I hope he's fully fit and all that, but again, you never know. They're saying he'll be back right after the international break, but at this point, I would probably reply by saying I doubt it. And even if he is back, how long is it going to take for him to get injured again? It seems like it always happens when he gets a game here and there. Whatever, let's skip Gio Reyna because we got good news in Germany. So let's talk about the good news. Noahkai Banks from Augsburg. Let's talk about him. And on Saturday, Banks, the 18-year-old American center back, started and played 84 minutes. He helped Augsburg snap a 4-game losing streak by defeating Wolfsburg 3-1. And you remember last week when I said that Banks would start getting more minutes? Oh, there you have it. I was right. Again. And Noahkai Banks actually had a very good game, and he was only subbed out in the 83rd minute due to cramps. He scored for Augsburg in the 3rd minute, and it was a nice goal, a tough finish. It was a sliding left-footed finish to score and give them the lead. But the goal aside, ignore the goal for a second, because he's also a center back. He was pretty good. He was rock solid on defense. He showed he can play on the ball, picked some good passes, won most of his duels. He didn't really look like an 18-year-old center back in the Bundesliga. He looked much more mature. I would say it was an 8.5 out of 10 performance. Now, he needs to lock in that starting role with Augsburg, and then hopefully he gets a shot at the US men's national team in November or March, or maybe both, and then we can possibly see him in the World Cup. I don't think he'll be a starter in the World Cup, but at least make the roster. He also played as a left center back in a back three, and Pochettino might actually go with a back three more often, so there's that to it as well. Now let me ask you this. Do you think that Tristan Blackman, could play in the Bundesliga and perform well like Noahkai Banks did? What's my point here? Blackman is more experienced, so he might be less error prone, maybe, but Noahkai Banks has more minutes at a higher level, and when he plays there, he looks really good. It doesn't make any sense to call up players like Miles Robinson or Blackman over Noahkai Banks at this point. Now, hopefully he locks in the starting spot for Augsburg, because then it'll make it impossible for Pochettino not to call him up. Maybe not, right? He doesn't call up Scally. But anyhow, Noahkai Banks is very good at soccer. Last but not least, in Germany, we have James Sands from St. Pauli. And on Saturday, James Sands started and played 71 minutes for St. Pauli during their 1-0 loss to Werder Bremen. So let's see how Sands does this camp, because he was called in by Mauricio Pochettino. We're going to leave Germany now and talk about the Americans in La Liga. And actually, we only have Johnny Cardoso there, and he's still recovering from the ankle injury. It's unclear if he'll be back immediately after international break, but what I will say is that he is expected to be back this month in October. So we're going to leave Spain and we're going to go to France, so we can talk about the Americans in Ligue 1. The first one being Florin Balogun from Monaco. And on Sunday, Balogun started off the bench and was subbed in at halftime for Monaco during their 2-2 draw with Nice, even though it's spelled nice. When Balogun was subbed in, they were down 2-1 and playing man up, so they were trying to get the result here, right? They were losing the game, and he helped them pull the draw as he was the one who drew a penalty kick that turned out to be their second goal. It was converted by Ansu Fati. Unfortunately, when Balogun drew the penalty kick, Bombito, the Canadian defender, the one that caused the penalty kick, ended up with a serious injury. He was stretched out of the field with an apparent fracture. So that was the bad news. That's terrible. I know he's not American, but you still don't want to see our fellow Canadians or Mexicans getting injured, our CONCACAF rivals. Now, has Balogun been benched? I don't think so. He was in their starting 11 in the midweek when they played Man City in the Champions League. It's just been a bit of a weird season where Balogun is in and out of the starting 11. But if he started in the Champions League and then came off the bench over the weekend, he's definitely not a locked-in starter, but he's also not a backup. Know what I'm saying? Next up, we have Tim Weah from Olympique Marseille. And on Saturday, Weah started and played 80 minutes for Marseille during their 3-0 win over Metz. But this is not the Mets from New York. And I thought Weah was mostly good. Defensively, he did his job when he was tested, and on offense, he helped create a few chances. He was heavily involved down the right flank. And keep in mind, he was playing as a right back. Now, in possession, he would push high up the field, but overall, he played a role that demands a lot from the player when it comes to fitness. He had to defend a lot, and he had to show up on offense. to, show some support to Mason Greenwood down the right. It was an overall good performance from Weah. Last but not least in France, we have Mark McKenzie and Tanner Tessman because Lyon and Toulouse clashed over the weekend. And on Sunday, McKenzie started and played the full 90 minutes for Toulouse, helping them get a late 2-1 win over Lyon away. Big win for Toulouse right there. As for Tanner Tessman, he started and pretty much played the full 90 minutes since he was subbed out during added time. He was literally subbed out 1 minute after Toulouse tied the game and a few minutes prior to them getting the lead. In regards to their performance, I missed this game. So I don't know how Tanner did. I don't know how Mark McKenzie did. If you do, let us know in the comment section down below. But as you know, I don't talk about games that I haven't watched, or unless there's like a very reliable source that I trust that watched it and they give me their takes and I can talk about it, but no one that I know watched this game, so I got nothing to say there. Time to leave France and go to the Netherlands and talk about the Americans in the Eredivisie, more specifically only the ones that play for PSV. Serginho Dest and Ricardo Pepi. Actually, Pepi's injured. He should be back after the international break, but he's dealing with a muscle injury, so obviously he wasn't available for PSV this weekend. But Dest was, surprisingly. And on Saturday, Dest started and played 73 minutes for PSV during their 4-0 win over PEC Zwolle. So Dest was fine. He was dangerous in the final third. It was a game that it was kind of easy for him and for PSV. He almost got an assist. He almost scored a goal. PSV was just dominant. Now, again, the weird part of this is that he didn't make the USMNT roster because he needed to rest, right? But you would think they would also rest him this weekend against PEC Zwolle. But whatever, he can rest this international break. I mean, it's pretty clear that Dest is our starting right back. I think Pochettino sees that. So if he's not available for these friendlies, so be it. Okay, time to go back to England and talk about the Americans in the EFL Championship. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Sunday, Sargent started and played the full 90 minutes for Norwich during their 3-1 loss to Ipswich. And ever since Sargent got back from the last international break with the United States, he has played 5 games, and he's had 0 goal contributions. Prior to that, I'm pretty sure he was scoring 1 goal per game, so it's fair to say that the US men's national team camp broke this man completely, which kind of sucks because Sargent was killing it this season, and now he is sucking ass. He's been terrible. And you probably hit the like button already in this video, and if you haven't already, I'm asking you once again. It helps the channel quite a bit. Next up, we have Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji started and played 74 minutes for Coventry during their 5-0 win over Sheffield Wednesday. Haji scored once again for Coventry, and it was the mother of all tap-ins. But he was in the right place, the right time, and a goal is a goal. He now has 8 goals in 9 games in the EFL Championship this season, and Coventry actually leads the league while also still being undefeated. Next up, we have Damian Downs from Southampton and our best friend Patrick Agyemang from Derby County. And on Saturday, Agyemang started and played 79 minutes for Derby County during their 1-1 draw with Southampton. As for Damian Downs, he came off the bench around the 60th minute for Southampton. And as I said in the opening of this video, I actually decided to watch this game. Unfortunately, right? There's definitely better games to watch, but I decided to do it. I'm a weird guy. I'm a very weird guy. And let me put it this way. Damian Downs was awful. He looked lost, and he was definitely worse than Agyemang this game. While Agyemang, he was mediocre, falling all over the place. The difference is Agyemang actually scored a nice header to get Derby County the draw. So credit for that. And it was a nice goal. But in terms of player profile, quality, he looked the same as what we saw during the Gold Cup. Very clumsy, falling all over the place, ineffective. And the thing is, he might be showing us the true level of the championship. Let's see how he does throughout the entire season. But if you think he magically got good, watch the game. He's the same player. Don't just go on FootMob and see, oh, this guy scored. He must be doing amazing there. The overall performance wasn't good. The goal, very good. And it was not a lucky goal. It was a nice header. Go watch it yourself. But again, what I think he's doing is he's red-pilling us and showing us the true level of the EFL Championship. Something that even I was probably wrong about. The league might be worse than we thought. But overall, let's see how Agyemang does throughout the season. If the EFL Championship is truly bad, I would hope Agyemang would, at a bare minimum, get at least 10 goals this season. At least. Next up, we have Aidan Morris from Middlesbrough. And on Saturday, Aidan Morris started and played the full 90 minutes for Middlesbrough during their 1-0 loss to Portsmouth. Now, that was actually their first loss of the season in the EFL Championship, and with this loss, they actually sit now in second place, only behind Coventry. So we actually have the Americans leading the league and in second place. So we have Haji Wright in first and Aidan Morris in second. Last but not least, we have Caleb Wiley from Watford, and he started for them and played 70 minutes this weekend. So he's fit again. He's healthy. That's the good news. Eventually, we'll catch some games and see how he's actually doing, but there's no point on doing that right now. Let him catch form. He was injured for a few months, but he's back and he's playing and he's starting. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. Another shout out to Alejandro Zendejas that continues to play very well for Club America, and technically he is an American abroad. Yeah, no, not technically. He is an American abroad. He plays in Mexico and for Club America. And that's all for today. All right, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for the USA versus Ecuador preview, Thursday for the USA versus Italy round of 16 live watch along, and Friday for the USA versus Ecuador live watch along for the senior team. So we got a very busy week coming up. Thank you very much, So Rare, for sponsoring this video. Link with the promo code and everything in the description. And that's all. Thank you for watching and have a great day.